Making $98 shorting AMC here on Tuesday, May 14th. Let's get into today's trade recap. This is not a large trade. This was a day trade. This is really not meant to be a big deal. I got in a little bit late, but I still wanted to take a shot at it and kind of test my theory, which kind of goes against the strategy to a degree, but also I didn't think that it really was a big deal because of the situation with AMC. Here's where my head's at. So I kind of sit in the situation where, here's the trade, by the way. Breaking down underneath this 868, I got in actually under $8 somewhere in here, and I had a stop loss at 9, and I had a take profit set at 6, which is just above the highs of yesterday, which we pretty much, I mean, you can literally just see perfectly came down and bounced right off of yesterday's high. Might go lower. I don't really give a shit. Doesn't really matter. That's an absolutely insane move. So I size pretty small, as you can tell. The reason why I size small is because here's the problem, right? You have a very strong stock as of late. So in this strategy, or in my breakdown strategy, right, I want to be playing a stock that's been weak. So in general, I'd be looking at stocks over the past couple of days that have been doing this, right? Not doing this. So it's kind of a weird scenario. However, with a short squeeze candidate kind of stock like AMC, it's kind of one of those things where, like, I can almost bend the rules of my strategy for this specific example because I can. And can I give you the exact reasoning why? Well, you go back to the bigger time frames. Yeah, you got a bigger picture downtrend, and it is risky. It's a short squeeze. You got to have a stop loss in place. You can't be an idiot. I understand, and I did. I'm not a dumbass. But when is it appropriate? This is kind of more of a psychology kind of thing. When is it appropriate to bend the rules, right? When is it appropriate to bend your rules? I got to stop saying right. Holy fucking shit, dude. I got to stop saying right. It's like a fucking idiot. That's one thing I'm working on this next couple of weeks, hopefully. So when is it appropriate to bend the rules and say, technically speaking, this doesn't fit, but the 5-minute did, right? Because you had a... Whoa! I gotta stop saying that. The 5-minute did, okay? I shouldn't be saying right because it's my video. I'm explaining my thought process. I don't need someone to tell me that that's right. Holy shit. It's an ingrained thing. I've been doing it for too long, so we're gonna get better though. Okay. Move down off the open, consolidate, and then break that consolidation. Pretty straightforward. Like, that is essentially a move down followed by a consolidation followed by a break of that low of the consolidation is what I trade. It's just that usually I trade that with weakness coming in on the bigger time frames. So I could say, yeah, you do have weakness on the bigger time frames, but what the fuck is this? You know, like, what is this? How do you classify that? It's a straight up short squeeze. At the same time, from me being in the past being in these and to be like, oh, I'm going to buy the dip, it's going to go higher, it's going to squeeze. I have gotten destroyed so many times on trading these that when the backside starts to establish, you could get some incredible moves, just like the moves we've seen in the days and hours leading up. Get some incredible moves. Now we're establishing backside. You can also get some incredible moves. So that's kind of the thought process behind it. Was I knew at some point the backside would establish and would provide a setup. Would I trade this for a swing trade? No, absolutely not. But is there enough momentum for a day trade? Absolutely yes. And that's why I did it. So you could say you technically broke a rule. You could say, but at the same time, I make the rules at the end of the day. So what's the right answer here? I don't know. I size smaller. I used a little bit of my own discretion. I used a little bit of my own subjective kind of the subjective side of trading, right? Like I use that through my experience and say, hey, I'll risk $100 or I'll risk $80 or $50, whatever the number was. I think it was like I risked like 80, 75, $80 to make 100-ish, and it ended up making 98. I'll take that for a small trade for, an opportunity that I saw presented itself. I usually wouldn't trade these, but when you get a great setup like this, I thought it was almost too good to not take a stab at trading AMC. So that's that. And let me just adjust this. We are up to $822 in profits for the month. I have an open position as I speak right now on JP Morgan, which I just moved my stop loss to break even because it popped to almost 201 today. But we'll see what happens. We've got CPI tomorrow, so I could get stopped out break even, but I can't lose on it, which is good. So we have that, and that's kind of the deal. I don't. It's a good month. It's decent, at this point, but we still got like 2.5 weeks to go technically of the month. So I'm not going to be pushing pace. Like, I'm going to be just waiting for really good setups. And, and when I get them, I get them. If I don't get them, I don't get them. And so AMC, I felt like I felt strongly enough in watching that from her talking this morning on the stream. I was like, this is one that, hey, if we get to set up, I'm going to take a shot at it. And there you go. Is it perfect? Is it kind of a questionable thing? Yes. Is it something that I would trade all the time? No. But setup was too good, in my opinion, for it to not be attempted, and that's what we did. So also, by the way, this 10K, this is on the 10K account with Arctic Funding, which is a stock specific. They focus on stocks, and we initially were on a small drawdown, like a couple $100, and now we're currently sitting at 10,285.52. That's with the open position on JP Morgan, but you can see the trade histories over here in the top right. And you can see the last trade was 98.15 on AMC. So that's where we currently stand. We are, making progress. And this is a newer account that I recently purchased. So that's the deal. AMC, by the way, it looks like it wants to set up for another move down as I'm speaking. And you have another consolidation kind of setting up. But I'm not going to trade that. But I mean, you just have a weak stock. They got there were some downside halts, by the way, too, which I didn't mention. There were some halts to the downside. So this took me, took like a half hour or so from when I got in, about a half hour. But there were some downside halts, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're about to get another halt here soon if it breaks the bottom of this consolidation low and gives you a nice breakdown candle. Then we're talking about a stock that could be about to go red on the day, which crazy because it was up like 100%. And I know for a fact there were people who I used to trade with. Back in the day, I used to trade penny stocks, and I got into two groups. One group was kind of a long bias only, and this other group that I was in for a period of time was a short bias only, or not short bias only, but for most of their trades, they were shorts. They would swing trade long, and then they would day trade short. And I can almost guarantee from, back to thinking about them and how they would trade, oh my goodness gracious, they probably hammered the hell out of this. And absolute, like this could be, to be honest with you, like this, I don't want to say it was easy, but if you have been in the game for long enough and you've seen the short squeezes and you know what to look for when the backside is starting to establish, nothing's easy, but the potential here on this breakdown, I believe, could have been absolutely like epic for somebody. Did I do that? Nope. It's not generally how I trade. I don't really trade small caps like this. It's mostly large caps, but oh my goodness. I know that there are people out there who absolutely annihilated AMC and made a fuck ton of money on this. And congrats, good for them. But we made $98. I guess it paid for a couple little things I had to buy today. But that's it. So there you guys have it. That's today's trade recap. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.